right, guys. Good evening. Welcome to Cocktails with Chello, episode 15. Hope you guys doing well. We're gonna have an interesting and invigorating discussion today. We have three topics to choose from, so I'm gonna get into that. And I want you guys to vote on it. We actually have three different topics, and it's in the description. So I'll post it in the chat as well. But the three topics that we're talking about is either 7 reasons why we should or why we're not being successful on LinkedIn, and that's coming from our good friend of the show, Janine Hogan, and also we have two other topics: how to talk to strangers or how to stop procrastinating. And those two topics are coming from Charles Duhigg. I came across him on a podcast that I listened to called The Art of Charm. So those are the three topics that we're considering for today. So is either one, two, or three. Let me know which one you're voting for. Also, if you guys are watching me there live, let me know if you're watching me live or you're watching a restream or watching a replay for that matter. Put a hashtag Team Live, or if you're watching a replay, let me know Team Replay. Another thing too is that on my last stream the audio was a bit low, so let me know as well if the audio's low. Let me know now so I could crank it up or pump it up. So hello fam, thank you very much for joining us. I appreciate that. Today, don't be shy. Join in the conversation. Join the chat. Let me know what you guys thinking as well. If you like what you're hearing, don't be shy. Just hit the hash, give it big old sharp, big old heart. Let me zoom out a little bit too close. I know you love me, but not that much. So yeah, when it comes out to give me some hearts, give me some appreciation there as well. So let me know what you guys are watching. If you're watching me from YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, Twitch, even Instagram, let me know. I appreciate that. Also, let me know what part of the world you guys are watching me from as well. So don't be shy. Bangladesh, I know you're out there. So give me a shout. Give me a woo woo. If you're watching me from Atlanta, let me know that as well. Or New York City, my hometown. So I appreciate that. Before we go any further, I want to let you guys know that all opinions are solely my own and do not express the opinions of my employer, which is the second largest waste company in the nation, Republic Services. Now, the reason I bring that up is that because I provide waste and recycling services for a great organization, and they're very generous. So I definitely want to make sure we separate the two. Now, if we just met today, hey, my name is Marcello Arcele. Nice to meet you. I provide recycling and waste services for companies right here in Metro Atlanta. So I provide services, sustainable solutions for large to small, medium-sized companies. So if you know someone that needs to reduce their costs and implement something that is sustainable, or even have something when it pertains to having reliable service, I'm your guy. So definitely let them know that. Now, also another thing I want to let you guys know, I want to give a shout out and thank you to Restream. They're sponsoring the stream today. If you need help to get on starting your own live streaming platform or program, definitely consider Restream as an option. If you sign up through the link that is in the description, you'll get some credits towards signing up for the pay version, and also you'll support the show here at Cocktails with Chello. In addition to that, you can follow them on Twitter, which is Restream.io. Now I'm going to play a video that we have here that will just give you a little quick description of the platform. It's about a 10 seconds, 15 seconds. It has no audio, but just gives you a visual representation. See, that was easy. so so let me know, guys, if you hear the audio looks good, sounds good, let me know. So let's go into the chat here. We got a few folks already in the chat that are chiming in. So let me remind you guys before I go any further, the three discussions that I'm considering, and it's in the description, that I want to talk about today, and I need you guys' help to let me know. So you got to vote up which ones you want to talk about or listen or even chime in. Is either 7 reasons why you may not be successful on LinkedIn, how to talk to strangers, and lastly, how to stop procrastination. There you go. I need to pronounce it correctly. So that's one, two, or three. So I'm going to actually put a link to join in the live stream. I always do that every single week. So if you guys want to join me on the live stream, I'm going to put the link in the chat as well. You can join me via your mobile phone, your iPad, your cell phone. That's mobile phone, right? Yeah. And computer, whichever you like. So I'm going to put a link in the description. So I'm going to put it, here it is. Link. You would think that I would already have that already prepared so I could just copy and paste it, but the link is unique every single time. So I'm gonna put that now. I'm gonna put that in the live stream in LinkedIn, and also I'm gonna post that to folks in Facebook. So if you guys are also watching me on Facebook as well, I'm gonna give you the access to join the live stream there as well. So I'm gonna put that in there right now. Now let me see here. What was the other thing I wanted to bring up? Bingo, 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 bingo. Okay, the chat. So let's get right into it. So let's see what we got here. We got hello, Chello. Let me see who this is. Sometimes it's the I don't see the. Oh, Chad, what's going on, buddy? Your private settings are pretty tight, so it doesn't allow me to show your name. So hey, what's going on, Chad? Thanks for joining me. I appreciate that. And the reason why I was able to see his name, I had to go into LinkedIn to see his name. We also got Martin. Hey, what's going on, Martin? Thank you very much for joining. He's one of my latest connections. He actually sent me a message via LinkedIn telling me that he has an event via Zoom that he invited me to. It starts at 9 o'clock today. So, Martin, if you like, feel free to post it in the chat here so other folks like to join because, after a while, they get tired of me yapping. And also, Martin, if you want to join and get on the live stream and talk about the event that you're doing today at 9, you're welcome. Click on the link. Join me on the stage. Now, let's see here. We got Team Live, and let me see who's that user. Let me bring up the here. Okay, Chad, your Team Live. I appreciate that. Amid, what's going on, sir? Thank you very much for joining me. I appreciate that. Where are you coming from, Amid? Let me know in the chat as well. Chad, I didn't know you was from New York City. That's my hometown. Thanks very much for joining us. And I see that Martin is from Florida. What's going on, Martin? I love Florida. We like hanging out there, especially down by South Beach, and even sometimes I go to Fort Lauderdale with family. So yeah, so NYC and how we got Mid. What's going on? Thank you very much for coming through. Guyana Coast. Oh, South Africa. That's awesome, man. And my dude, Senor, all the way from California. What's going on, buddy? Support. You definitely got to support Restream. I appreciate that. And good evening, all. Michael, what's going on, man? Another person that we just got connected on LinkedIn. Thank you very much for showing up. Thanks for the love. So let's see if we got any votes so far for what we're going to look. Oh, we got my lady in the house from South Atlanta. There we go, Sofo. What's going on, Michelle? Good looking out. Thanks for coming through. I appreciate that. Let me know what you're voting for on the 3 questions, 3 topics that I'm considering. Either 7 reasons why you may not be successful on LinkedIn. The second one is how to talk to strangers, and the third one is how to stop procrastinating. So we're gonna talk about those 3 topics. So I'll decide in the next 3 minutes. So we're gonna see if we got any votes on that before we continue. All right. So look here. The second show I have been off the wall. Shout outs to all the flies. I need to add Restream. This guy, I love this dude. Oh, and where's my cocktail? I don't know. I can't tell you where's yours. I can tell you what mine is. And I'm mixing mine today with what's this? I keep forgetting what it is. Arnold Palmer. And I'm mixing it with this guy right here. Bird Dog. Peach whiskey. The reason why I'm using this is basically the knockoff of Crown Peach. I mean, that thing comes out seasonal. And when that thing is gone, goodbye. So this is pretty good. So you mix this with some Arnold Palmer and put it in a nice little Yeti cup. You straight. Keeps it nice and cold. Let me take a sip for you guys right now. That's pretty good. And then also you got to back it up with some hydration for my folks there at Bob. Okay, so let's see what else we got here. Really, back from New York, Queens. Man, let me tell you this, Chad. I was born in Italy. I was born in a little town called Sicily. It's that island right off the boot, right? And I came to the United States when I was 10 years old. I lived in the Bronx, in the Boogie Down, where it all started. And then I ended up moving to another side of the Bronx, and the nicer side is out here. You move it on up to the north side. So that's where we've been going. So I lived there for most of my young years. Then when I went to school, I lived in a city downtown, right, literally right off of Times Square. So, and then afterwards I moved to Atlanta. So that's where I'm at right now. Atlanta. That's how we say it. Not Atlanta, but Atlanta. So, so let's see what else we got here now. Good evening, sir. What's going on, James? Dude, I'm getting a lot of love from all my new connections. Thank you very much for coming through, James. Take a look at the questions that we have here. I'm wanting to know what you guys wanting to discuss, so definitely let me know. Yeah, Sofo, yeah. I thought I had it. Hold on, do I have it here? Hey, look at that. Representing South Atlanta. There you go, baby. I haven't gone through it yet. All right, let's go. Let's go to the next one. All right, so the last two. All right, so we got Naomi's voting for the last two. I like that. So far so good. Let me know what you guys are considering. All right, so no drink over here on the job. Hey, but hey, I'm mixing it up. I have a little bit of mixing up there as well. So we got a mix there. Hey, Michelle, if you want to join the chat, the link is in the message there. You're more than welcome to join. Click on the link there. All right, and then Sofo. I like that. That's pretty cool. All right, so let's take a look here. Everybody's partying in New York City. That's what I'm. See, this dude. You guys gotta let me know. What is the hottest part of the world? Are we talking about? Is it Atlanta? Is it New York City? Is it Cali? You gotta represent your city. Let me know which is the best city. All right. So so far we got the votes are for either stop procrastinating, how to stop procrastinating, or how to talk to strangers. Okay, so those are the two I got so far. The other one that I have is 7 reasons why you may not be successful on LinkedIn. So let me know what you guys want to talk about. So far, as I mentioned, we got how to talk to strangers or how to stop procrastinating. So let me know what you guys are talking about. Let me refresh the feed and also repost the link if you guys want to join me. So in the meantime, I'm just gonna hang out here. I'm gonna have my little son kick in there, hang out for a little while I actually refresh the page. So give me 1 second, all right, guys? My little boy right there. It's Chelito. Chelito's in the house right now. You see that? It's a little fuzzy there. All righty, let me see here. Let me give me 1 second. Let me put the link. I'm all in for number 2. Okay, I like that. Talk to strangers. I love it. All right. And right now we already let's go on with that topic right now, which is how to talk to strangers. I have an interesting pretty topic here. I have a podcast from a friend of mine, friend of the show called Charles Duhigg. He was on a show recently called let my little boy go home. Hey, little boy, take a nap, all right? All right, good to know. He's gonna go to sleep, guys. So I'm gonna come back. All right, there we go. But so a good friend of mine, Charles Duhigg, he has a podcast, and he was on a show recently called The Art of Charm. So on this show, he brought up the topic that he talked about several weeks ago, how to talk to strangers. And I thought, okay, I got to check out that podcast. I got to check out that episode. I haven't as of yet, but what better time to check out the podcast and the discussion and have a discussion with you guys here than doing it live? What better way to do that? So I'm going to bring up that discussion here, and I'm going to, again, put the link to the chat. So if you guys want to join me, let me know. So let me bring up that link so you guys want to join us. I'm going to bring that link. There we go. There you go. So that's the link that you'll have access to the backstage pass. That's what they call it. So if you want to jump on the chat, you're more than welcome. So I'll put that again, and we'll bring on the event so you guys could we could enjoy the conversation. Now, you're welcome to join on the live stream, just like where you're right here, and we could actually have a chat like these, like talking heads. So let's go on. Let me bring that guy up right now. So bear with me for 1 second. I'm going to bring up that page. There we go. Kill this. Kill this. Okay, we're not going to talk about 7 reasons why to be successful on LinkedIn. That's goodbye to that. Alrighty, there we go. All right, so here we go. So this is gonna be the podcast. So this is how to basically his show. Charles' show is all about how tos. So if you guys are looking to subscribe to a podcast and tackle different topics, he even had one interesting. He had a topic about how to rob a bank, which obviously I don't recommend. How to avoid from getting bit by a shark. He has a various amount of different topics, but this was quite interesting because think about this: networking and meeting people is one of the most challenging things and the most scariest things that people have or avoid to do. And what I mean by that is that what I do for a living, because I'm in relationships. I'm a salesman, but I like building relationships every single day. So I'm meeting someone new every single day. Like right now, I'm talking to you guys, and some of you guys that are joining on this live stream is for the first time as well. At the end of the day, it's not the hardest thing to talk to strangers, I feel, because just be yourself. However, sometimes you have to read the individual, and then that could ensure that you can have a good chance to have a good first impression. So that comes with, I guess, skills or just learning, or better yet, age. You can say I feel a little bit of gray hair over here, so I'm pretty old. So, all right. So you guys heard enough yapping. So let's get the party started, okay?
Okay, so if I'm standing by the punch bowl and you walk up, what do you say to strike up a conversation with me?
Oh geez. Well, my first instinct is to wait for you to strike up a conversation with me.
Welcome to How To. I'm Charles Duhigg. On this week's show, we're talking to a listener.
I'm interested now. So tell me now. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a like, or even give me a comment. When you walk into a space, you don't know anyone for the first time. Do you sit back and wait for someone to talk to you? Or do you approach someone, extend your hand out like this? Hi, how you doing? Hello, good evening, good afternoon. My name is Marcello Arcelay. How are you? Do you do that? Or do you sit back and wait for someone to approach you to say something? And that applies in a networking setting. Even it could be even Zoom. Think about this. A lot of us actually doing a lot of networking via Zoom. And I see it all the time. You join in, you're in a room with 20, 30, 40, 50 people. And the only person that's talking is the MC. And sometimes some of these networking events, they break out in breakout rooms. And that's the only time you have an opportunity to talk. But then it's a small amount of time. But if you come to these events on a regular basis, wouldn't it be easy, and you know some of them, would it be easy for you easier to initiate the conversation? Hey, Chad, what's going on? Nice seeing you again. Hey, Peter, what's going on? Mind you, you may not be able to say that because you're interrupting the whole flow, but you could click on and send them a chat. So I'm curious. Give me a thumbs up if you guys are, if you get in a room and do not know anyone, and do you actually initiate the conversation? That's a thumbs up for that. And if you're nervous and you'd rather for someone to come to you and talk to you, then your heart flutters, give me a heart for that. So let me know, then I know, which way you guys go. And then also, if you guys have any concern about that, if you feel any kind of way, let me know. If you prefer to wait, put that in a comment. Prefer to wait. Or I like to start the conversation, to share that in the chat as well. So let's continue on.
Listener who you might be surprised is willing to come onto a podcast like this to talk about her life.
I have a team of about 55 people that I oversee. And a lot of the feedback that I hear from them is that people don't find me very approachable. So I know that one of the barriers I have is just making small talk.
This is Amy. She's a manager at a local county government office in Denver, Colorado. And by her own description, she is an introvert.
Like if I encounter somebody in a break room, I might just say good morning or whatever, and that's about it. The conversation never really goes anywhere. It also happens like at, my husband's Christmas party or at other social gatherings where I find myself sort of kind of camping out in a corner and talking to the people that I do know, but never really connecting with anybody new.
Amy has tried to be more outgoing. Back when she was working in her office, back before we all started working from home, she put this reminder on her calendar to force herself every other Friday to walk around and say hello to all of her employees and try and make casual conversation with them.
And as I was walking around and kind of talking to everybody, I could tell that I was making other people uncomfortable. Like my discomfort with small talk is like infecting other people, it felt like. And so that's when I thought there's got to be a trick to this.
What are you feeling in that particular moment? Like, do you freeze up?
I feel like I always just feel a little bit out of place and not sure where to start.
Amy recently got promoted, which means she needs to talk to and manage even more people than before. And now she's doing it all remotely. Why do you think you struggle with this so much?
Oh, I don't know. I've always been pretty introverted, and I hate to use the word shy. I'm outspoken. I'm perfectly comfortable in being assertive.
Okay, so I'm curious now. You guys are watching this and also listening along with me right now. Let me know in the comments as well. Are you guys introverted, extroverted? And there's a third one. I forgot. That's like almost like a combination of the two. And if you guys know what it is, let me know that. Let me know in the comments. So let me know if you're extroverted, give me a thumbs up. If you are introverted, then give me a curious, like you're like, So let me know that. I mean, let me get up close and personal with you guys. Okay, are you introverted? Huh? Are you extroverted? So let me know. All right, let's get back to the show.
And voicing my opinion and taking charge and all of those things. But when it comes to like connecting with people and being real personal, I'm definitely very reserved. I have a very small circle of friends, and I just don't feel the need to have millions of social connections. And it's just never been something that I needed.
But in order for her to do her job effectively, Amy needs to foster those social connections. That's part of being a good manager.
Oh, yeah.
And we've all been in social situations like this, right? Where we have to make small talk. Maybe you're alone at a conference, or you're trying to mingle at a spouse's work party. Or these days, maybe you're joining a Zoom cocktail hour, or figuring out how to meet new clients, or going on a date when you can't actually meet the other person in person. What are you supposed to say?
Ain't that interesting? He brought up about the cocktail hour. I was talking about earlier, or the Zoom. Like I was telling you about before, it's like a lot of these people are joining in these Zoom calls, and I'm not sure if you've done it before, but there's several that I've joined, and the only way someone gets a chance to talk if they structure it that way. Like, they'll do that round robin, and everyone talks, but then you sit back and wait, and for someone to ask you a question, rather than you initiate. Hey, Peter, what you said earlier about executing this kind of system in that program, have you found any challenges? Mind you, if you don't have, there's always something interesting. You could always find something interesting in what someone said, unless, let's say, for instance, that there are a rocket scientist, and you have no interest to learn about rockets. I get it. But you could always extract something from something you could always extract something from something. You could get some information from what someone have said, and you could find a way to ask a follow-up question. I say that because think about this. I'm meeting new people every single day, and ultimately the relationship that I make within a few minutes from after meeting them is going to determine if they want to do business with me or my competitor. So I have to listen. I have to be attentive. I have to be relatable. And I have to do that fast. But the fact is, this is not something that's calculated. It just should come natural to you. You should just care. You should want to know more about that person. If it takes effort to do that, what I mean, mind you, like I said, I'm in sales, so it doesn't. It's not that hard for me to do that because I actually do like to help. I like to work and I like to help others. So it comes easy for me because I'm generally curious to learn about people's challenges and how I can help. So so let me know what you guys think. Let's see here. Let's go back to the show.
How do you make the conversation more enjoyable, both for you and for everyone else? When we come back, we'll bring on an expert who learned how to turn her own shyness into a superpower. Stay with us.
Okay, so far, let me bring up here. I see that we got a few mentions. So Gary's going like this. So Gary, I'm guessing that you are an introvert. So let me know in the comments, yes or no, that's what you mean by introvert. And I got my dude here, Senor. He says an omnivert. So I guess the omnivert is the individual that is an introvert and extrovert, but it's a combination, meaning they're adaptable. And as you guys watch this, you would think, oh, this guy's an extrovert. Nah, not really. I tell you, if my wife is right now in the bedroom right now, and she'll tell you when we first met, I did come across as what was the word they said? Snooty, goody two shoes, or whatever it was, because I just didn't want to initiate conversation. So I was reserved. When I first met my wife's family. But after they got to know me, they like, we have a good time together. But for the most part, I enjoy doing nothing. And you got to think about this. Every single day, my job is to meet someone new and find a way how it can help them. And ultimately, find a way to convert that into a paying customer. It's not going to happen every single time. So chances are I have to meet a lot of people. We both know that, right? And that's fine. I love it. I mean, look at this here. And I say this right now because I was literally downtown Phipps over there by Lenox Road. And I was meeting with some of the management companies there, TransUnion. I'm over here. I met with some folks from the Salvation Army yesterday. I'm everywhere, dude. You name it. So I got all these business cards. So I'm meeting someone every single day. I mean, literally, this is like, I would say this is about 40 business cards, and this is in 2 days. That's a lot of yapping. So yeah, but at the end of the day, I like to relax and chill. So these kind of settings here, I enjoy it. Again, if you guys want to join me in the conversation, the link is here. I'll repost it, so you guys are more than welcome to join me. And so this is the link to the backstage access to the live stream, so you could be right next to me if you guys want to. Mind you, I like you guys in the comments, so you guys more than happy to stay there. It's kind of tight sometimes, so I don't want to bump shoulders. So let me know what you guys think. Let me break up something here for a little bit here. Alrighty. You guys like the little doggy? Okay, that's enough. Let's get back to the show.
Support for this podcast comes from Within. Are you a retailer or digital marketer? Check out the Retail Pulse by Within. It's where everyone in e-commerce is going to see how they compare to the benchmarks. Within is tracking revenue, ad spend, conversion rate, CPMs, and more, all in one simple dashboard. Go to within.co to see how...
Sorry, let me know. You guys let me know. I'm not going to do the research right now, but you guys have access to this because I'm hosting this show called Cocktails with Chello. What's the difference between an omnivert and an omnivert? Maybe it's just spelled differently. Maybe it's the same thing. So if it's the same thing, but it's just spelled differently, you guys let me know. Or it's two different things. Who knows? All right. Let's see here. Now, Naomi's saying, yeah, you surprised me too. Laugh out loud. You see, very quiet. Yeah, but so that is it's now between. I train for a living, so I need to be a little extra. But my personal, yeah, I get that. No, I can understand that. I'm the same way. I just like to sit back and relax and just chill. So yeah, what he's saying in my personal, I'm an intra hence in between. I like that. You like to keep to yourself. I get you. And sometimes you know what it is that if you do it all day for a living, Gary, you could definitely relate to that. Sitting back and relaxing, doing nothing is outstanding. So I'm glad you can relate to that.
How you are trending. Get insights from benchmark beating brands and learn what you can do to recover lost revenue. Start beating the benchmark today by visiting within.co. That's within.co.
And let me know what you guys, if you like the topic that we're talking about, how to talk to strangers, let me know in the comments. Love it. Talk about something else next time. And also give me thumbs up, hearts. Let me know that as well. Okay? Let's continue on the show.
Much like our listener Amy, the author Susan Cain always wondered why she struggled so much to make small talk.
Well, I mean, the funny thing is that I had been thinking about these questions and this way of being all my life. I didn't always have a language for it, but I had always been thinking about it.
After years of thinking and doing research, Susan wrote a book called Quiet: The Power of Introverts in a World That Can't Stop Talking.
All the times that I got the message that somehow my quiet and introverted style of being was not necessarily the right way to go, and that I should be trying to pass as more of an extrovert. And I always sensed deep down that this was wrong, and that introverts were pretty excellent just as they were. But for years, I denied this intuition. And so I became a Wall Street lawyer, of all things, instead of the writer that I had always longed to be, partly because I needed to prove to myself that I could be bold and assertive too. And I made these self-negating choices so reflexively that I wasn't even aware that I was making them. Now, this is what many introverts do. And it's our loss, because when it comes to creativity and to leadership, we need introverts doing what they do best.
Susan's TED Talk and her book launched what she's called a quiet revolution.
That's interesting because when I listen to that, I think about the term that you guys might have heard forever. Fake it until you make it. And that applies to everything. I mean, unless, for instance, if you are a chef, fake it until you make it, meaning that obviously you'll work through it. You may not know exactly everything about how to cook a red velvet cake, but you'll figure it out. In this case, it could be any particular role. But faking it till you make it, meaning that, if you have to be extroverted and you have to meet with people every single day, just like Gary mentioned earlier, he trains for a living. So he has to be, engaging. He needs to be, lack of a better word, bubbly. He needs to draw people in. He needs to ask them. He needs to engage them. So, but like what Gary says, and if I put my spin on it, and if I was Gary, and if I was a teacher every single day, and I need to meet people and need to train them, at the end of the day, I'm faking it during the day because not necessarily your role, but faking your mood. Does that make sense? And it goes back to a big proponent that I'm a big advocate of mindset. Choosing your right mindset. It's up to you choosing your attitude at the end of the day. You could get up and drag on, and by the time you meet someone or go to work, you're in a bad mood. And that brings up a question that I like to ask you guys. Let me know if you guys are a morning person or you guys are an evening person. Or better yet, just tell me, not a morning person, yes, I'm a morning person. So let me know that in the comments as well. As you can tell, I'm a morning person. And also an evening person. I don't know. I'm just me. So, and I say that, I'll share another personal story with you. In my household, my wife in the morning, she says it very clearly. She's like, can you tell it to me in your inside voice? Because I'm like, I'm ready. Ready. As soon as I get up in the morning, I don't hit the snooze button. I don't. The alarm goes off, or I just wake up naturally, and I don't hit the snooze button. That's me. So needless to say, I'm up and running, boom, 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 boom. So what that means is my wife, she'll hit the snooze button, or may not, either way, but she just want to mellow into her day. So I go in the other area of the house and I'm listening to podcasts, motivational content, maybe just technology talk. As I'm listening to that, I'm drinking some apple cider vinegar. Bum, bop, 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 you know? So let me know what you guys think. If you guys are introverted, extroverted, so let me know. Okay, yeah, so Gary said he's a morning person. That's awesome. There you go. And this guy says, are you quoting Gary Vee? Nope. And if it sounds familiar, let me know where I sound like Gary Vee and share that with me. Share a link or a video that you're talking about, because I know Gary Vee, but what I'm talking about is me and how I am and how I live. So let me know. I share that link there. So if anything, I should be making money like Gary Vee. So all right, let's get back to the show.
Solution. And ever since then, she's dedicated herself to helping the world understand introverts and helping introverts understand themselves. So when you were a corporate lawyer, I mean, we think of at least I think of corporate lawyers as kind of these natural extroverts who are loud and opinionated. Did you feel like Amy when you were at your old law firm? Like, would you struggle to network and to talk with your colleagues? Did you feel like being an introvert was something that made you out of place?
I had assumed at the beginning that I would be at this big disadvantage because of my way of being, but I started to realize that I was a pretty young associate at the time, and the senior partner I was working with kind of at the last minute couldn't come to this big negotiation, and I had to do it, and I was absolutely terrified, but it ended up being this shockingly, to me, successful thing where the attorney representing the other client wanted to hire me, and it was all because I was doing it in my own sort of more quiet and thoughtful way. A lot of what makes a good negotiator is somebody who can really listen deeply, try to come up with constructive agreements that work for everyone. So it wasn't always comfortable for me, but I started to realize that it was this weird superpower that I had not realized that I had at the beginning.
That's interesting. And can you tell me, like, what exactly is introversion? Like, how is being an introvert different from being shy?
So introversion is about the preference for environments that are just more mellow, to put it in really colloquial terms. There are fewer stimuli bombarding you at any one time, which is why, you often hear people say, like, how do you feel after you've been at a party for a couple of hours? For an extrovert, it's as if they have an internal battery that's getting charged by that experience. And so they're now really revved up because they're getting energy. And an introvert, even if they're very socially skilled and great at small talk, at the end of the 2 hours, it's still as if their internal battery is being drained and they're starting to wish that they...
So that's interesting. Yeah. I wonder what you guys think about that. Yeah, when it comes down to when you're out and about, I known people in the past that they utilize the weekend to recharge. So let me know what you guys think about that. Do you guys utilize the weekend to recharge? Or do you guys use the weekend to spend time with family? So let me know. You guys use the weekend for recharge? Let me know recharge. Or if you use the weekend to spend time with family, let me know. Now, chances are, if you use the time during the weekend to recharge, you might be an introvert because you're minimizing the ability to interact with others. But if you're the individual that want to spend time with family or do things outside, chances are then you're an omnivert or an extrovert. So, just curious to know what you guys think and what you guys, how do you guys utilize your personal time? So I wonder what you guys think about that. So share that with me.
They could go home at that point. And all of that is different from shyness, which is much more about the fear of social judgment.
And, one of the things that we've kind of been focusing on is small talk, right? How do you make small talk in a way that's not awkward and feel successful?
I think one thing that might be helpful for you, Amy, is to know that
There was a study that found that most people don't really like small talk. It's kind of boring.
Yeah.
And most people are hungry to get to the place where the talk is no longer small.
Right.
And they're actually discussing something real.
Okay, so let's try this out. Let's try and workshop this for a second.
Okay, so I'm wondering, what do you guys are? Are you guys small talk kind of folks? Do you guys? And I say this, I'll be honest with you, okay? And please believe me when I say this. I don't care for small talk. I really don't. And this is why it supports what I said earlier. When I first met my wife's family, I really didn't engage in the small talk. That's not me. And even still to this day, I'm not much for small talk. I don't know. That's just me. However, we can sit down and we can talk about anything. And chances are you could be the one talking the most because I could be listening to what you're talking about, and I'll find things that to share that I find interesting, and then I'll ask you follow-up questions on, because guess what? I'm actually interested in what you're talking about. So let me know. You guys are small talk kind of folks or no small talk? So let me know that in the comments as well. So I appreciate that. And also, as you guys like the questions that I'm asking and how I'm formatting the show, just feel free to give me a thumbs up, give me a heart, give me a comment, give me a curious, or better yet, as you hear the podcast and you like what you're hearing, give a thumbs up. Or also, if you find something that's curious or entertaining, use the reaction buttons on that as well. So thank you very much, guys. Let's go back to the podcast and let me know, small talk or no small talk,
if you don't mind. So let's say I'm standing by the punch bowl, and Amy comes up. Amy, what's your first instinct at a party? What do you say?
Oh geez, I was so afraid you were going to make me role play.
That's so funny, Amy. I so relate to you. I always hate the role playing part.
But that's okay. It'll be good for me. Okay, so I might say, oh, I really enjoy this punch. Do you know what the ingredients are?
That's a great question. I believe it's 10% punch and 90% vodka.
This is going to go a lot easier then.
And what's the next question you ask?
So then I might say, oh, vodka is such a easy thing to mix with drinks. I really like Tito's. What brand do you prefer?
I'm a Grey Goose guy. I'm a big fan of Grey Goose. Do you drink a lot of vodka? Are you is that a problem for you? I feel like we've gotten past the small talk into something deep and meaningful.
Right.
Mind you, it's safe to say that dialogue was hard to listen to. You can say that it was, they were pulling on straws and they were going through the motion, but it's still, in essence, that's the format of small talk. So let me see what you guys voted so far, what you guys shared. If you for small talk, or you guys are like, no, Chello, no small talk. I'd rather go without it. So let's see what you guys are talking about over here. Let's see here. Oh yeah, we got my dude in the house. Ooh, Mr. Rouse. And this guy's no small talk. This guy's straight small talk. Oh no, better yet, he's straight talk. All right, so yeah, this is again. The link is there if you guys want to join the conversation. Let's see what we got over here. So okay, so right now, so my dude Gary says weekend to recharge. That's what he says. He definitely used the weekend to recharge and reconnect, especially in this season. That's interesting. Now, Gary, I'm curious to know. So when you recharge, what do you do? Are you watching, binging on TV shows, or catching up on, let's say, movies let's say Lord of the Rings, multiple movies? And I ask that because one of my family members, when they like to relax and recharge on the weekend, because they actually enjoy doing that, they'll binge on Law and Order. They'll watch like episode after episode after episode. Mind you, even though they know the episodes, it's just that comfort. You know what I mean? You know what? Sometimes some of the episodes you already seen them before, and they'll watch it. Mind you, I got every single episode of Law and Order. I've downloaded them and I have them already. So let me know if you guys are a Law and Order fan. Let me know give me a thumbs up, give me a heart. Let me know that as well, and let me know which type of Law and Order you like. Do you like SUV, criminal intent? I'm just curious. All right, so let's move on to the next here. So my dude is saying here. All right, I think that's Chad because he got his settings are super private. I can't bring it up, so I'm sure that's Chad. So we got a new connection here. What's going on, Charles? Thank you very much for joining. Let me know what part of the world you're watching me from, and let me know as well. Just obviously you're watching live, so put hashtag Team Live. So thank you very much for that. So let's see what Charles says. He says absolutely true. Going into outside sales role, I relied on small talk, but soon I learned that it was pointless and did nothing to fulfill my customers. At times I passed and have found myself becoming less interested in small talk as well. So that's good. I mean, I'm glad that you share that, Charles, because I'm the same way. I like to get right to it. Let me give an example. Okay, I'm right here in the South. All right, and the classic way that people answer the phone is this way. Hey, let me give an example. Hey, hi, good afternoon. My name is Chello with Republic Services. How are you? I don't know this person from Adam. Why am I asking them how's their day? How they doing? I get it. That's pleasantries. I understand that. I really do. However, does it really convey being genuine? I don't know this person. I don't know if they had a bad day, they had a good day. Maybe asking that question after you build some rapport could be better suited. Like, I have to say, hey, how you doing? My name is Chello with Republic Services. Give the reason why you're calling. And once you find out, then you can say, hey, I'm wondering, how's your day going? That might be more effective at that point because you was able to build some rapport rather than just come right off the back and say, how are you doing? So let me know what you guys think. When you meet someone from the first, from jump, if anyone that's watching this and you guys are in sales, are you the type that says, how are you doing? How are you doing? Are you that person? Or are you the person that, hey, how are you? Or you you eliminate the pleasantries. So let me know. Are you guys for the pleasantries or no pleasantries? So let me know. Charles, thank you very much for sharing your comment. Thank you. I appreciate that. So let's see here what we got going on. My dude, Senor. That's what he says. Let me bring it up here. To be neutral, not all people are alike. Great show. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, being neutral, being straight up, just being yourself, it makes sense. Mind you, as you hear me, you would think, oh, this guy, he's super bubbly and all that. Yeah, I love to be happy. And like I said earlier, I choose my attitude, choose your mindset. However, I'm real, right? So sometimes some of that pleasantry can be thrown to the side. So that's my point of view on that. So let's see. So my dude here, Chad, says small talk leads into great conversation. Okay, good. I like that. Now I'm going to challenge you now, Chad. Okay, so small talk, you're saying, can lead into great conversation. So can you expand on that? What do you mean by that? Okay, because sometimes small talk could be like, okay, you know what? Get to it. What is this about? Because think about this right now. You are on the other side of the phone, and I call you, and I say, hey, what's going on, Chad? How are you? Chances are you think I want to sell you something. So you're like, I'm doing fine. How can I help you? Chances are sometimes individuals' guards could go up. So I'm just curious to know what do you mean by that? Tell me more. So, all right. So Team Live, yeah, small talk is great. I like that. Yeah, you're laughing all over the floor. I like that. And Chris, he's talking to say, hey, all right, SUV. Okay, so yeah, so you're criminal. Yeah, it's funny you say that. SUV. My wife likes that as well. She likes the that version as well. And let me see, catching SNL. Okay, so that's what you do. I like that. Hey, and Maria, thank you very much for joining me. Let me know what part of the world you watching me from. If you're watching me from Atlanta, Bangladesh, New York City, let me know where you're watching this as well from. I appreciate that. Yeah, so you like Chicago PD. I never got into those Chicago series. I'm curious to know, is it similar to like the SUVs? I mean SUVs. Similar to the Law and Order? Let me know. And if so, let me know how they're similar. And if they're different, let me know how they're different. So thank you very much for that, Maria. All right, my dude is from Nashville. Yeah, you know what? I know a lot of folks from Nashville, actually. Let me get you right next door. So thank you. I appreciate that. Philadelphia. There you go. You already typed it in. So thank you very much for sharing that. And let's see what she says. I like your vibe. I like yours as well. Thank you. I mean, you joining me. I appreciate that. And now there's a link if you want to join the conversation. Here's the link to everyone that's watching the live right now stream. I'm going to repaste it in the conversation. So if you guys want to join the conversation and with me here live, side by side, let me know. That's the link to gain access to the backstage pass. So let me go back to the comments. All right. So we got Queensboro, Queensboro. Queensboro. Yeah, Queensboro, New York. Okay, all right. And I'm seeing what he says here. You said my settings are private. How can I fix it? Uh, Chad, I think you have to Google that. Or better yet, I can find that out and let you know later. But it's all about the settings, how you have it, and that prevents for your name to show up. So mind you, it's all about if you're happy with your privacy settings, leave it. But it just when you're on a live stream, it's not gonna give access, and that applies on Restream or even StreamYard. It works the same way. So here, so make a connection. I like that. That's all. That's the key thing. You have to make that connection. That's the key thing. Gary, Team Live. Somehow I figured that out, but thank you. You're awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that. And now my dude, Bill Weber, stopped by to say, hey, thank you. I appreciate that. So now, hey guys, I want to let you guys know if you guys just happen to join me in the chat, I want to let you know what we were talking about right now. We are, believe it or not, we're already about 30 minutes into the show. Okay? Actually, a bit more than that. And I had 3 topics that I was asking what you guys wanted to talk about today. And the three topics I was going to ask you guys to talk about was 7 reasons why you may not be successful on LinkedIn. That was my first question. And these are questions I was asking you guys to vote on to determine what we were going to talk about. The second thing was how to talk to strangers, which is what we're talking about now. And that's the one that got the most votes. And then the last one was how to stop procrastination. So that was the third one. So the one that got the most votes was how to talk to strangers. So that's what we're talking about today. We're actually are playing a podcast called the title of the podcast is How To, and is hosted by Charles Duhigg. And the topic is how to talk to strangers. So let me get back to the show, and you guys could, continue on. We're about just 1/3 through the podcast.
Really fast.
This is why I need help.
Okay, so here's the thing. The conversation gambit that you started with, Amy, I think was destined to take you to a place where you were going to get uncomfortable because it was talking about alcohol. So I would recommend thinking of some alternative opening gambits that are less likely to take you in an uncomfortable direction.
That makes more sense.
Okay, guys, I may re-ask the questions that I asked earlier. Let me know in the chat if you guys are introvert, extrovert, or like how Shelly said, ambivert, which is a combination of the two. That's one of the questions that we're asking. The other question is, when you guys are during the weekend, what do you guys like to do? Do you guys like to stay at home and relax, recharge? And if so, what do you guys like to do? Do you guys like to binge on old TV shows, or even maybe just stack up certain TV shows? Like we do that at our house. So, and I say that because, there's a certain show you like, and you do, after that show's over, you're like, oh my gosh, we gotta wait another week. So we stack them up. So we do that occasionally. Or do you take the weekend and spend time with friends and family, or go outside and do something outdoorsy? So let me know. So I'm curious to know. So introvert, extrovert, or omnivert, weekends, stay at home, recharge, vegetate, Netflix and chill, or do you get out, hang out with family, and do things outdoorsy? So let me know that in the comment. All right. And also, if you guys watching, if you're watching live, let me know that in the comments. Team Live, folks already said that. Thank you very much. If you haven't, let me know in the comments. Team Live, if you're watching the replay, let me know that as well in the comments. Team Replay, thank you very much for that. And also let me know what part of the world that you're watching me live from or in the replay. So thank you very much for joining me. And as you continue watching the show in the live, let me know, share your thoughts and comments by the reaction button. So thank you very much for that, guys. And you're watching Cocktails with Chello, episode 15. Let's get back to the show.
Sense.
Here's a first quick rule. It's fine. In fact, it's a good idea to have some standard first question in your back pocket to break the ice. Something that you know will lead you to a comfortable topic, rather than something that leads you to kind of an awkward place.
And I guess that's probably just where I always struggle is what is the mutual thing? So, right now, given the situation, we obviously wouldn't be at a party. But if we were at a party, we might talk about, wow, I've noticed the grocery store shelves are still really empty. How has it been going for you? Maybe something like that.
Yeah. And by the way, you might be at a virtual cocktail party.
There you go.
I mean, lots of people are doing those and you're probably saying, no, I'd rather not. If you find yourself at one of them.
Can I tell you what I do? Because very similarly, I find myself very often in situations where I don't know anyone in a room. And so oftentimes what I'll do is I'll try and think of the thing that I learned that week that was interesting. And I'll go up to someone and I'll say, hey, my name is Charles Duhigg. And I was like, I learned this kind of interesting thing this week. Like, that birds can fly upside down and no problem. And usually they say like, oh, that's funny. And then I ask them, what's the most interesting thing you learned this week? And because I went first, it kind of makes it okay for people to tell me something interesting that they've learned. And it's just an easy way to have this very low stakes conversation.
It's funny he says that because my typical thing to say to get someone talking different from what they would want to say to me is, and my friends that are watching this will know when I say this because they'll realize, gosh, he asks me that all the time. But, I usually ask that, after a few minutes after we start talking. So my typical question is, hey, so tell me what's new and exciting in your world, Yeah. And you can say that to also the clients and customers, ask them, hey, what's new and exciting in your world, And ultimately, that's what you want to know. You want to know what's new and exciting in their world. Why? Because what's new and exciting in their world is what they want to talk about. They always say people love to talk and people love to hear themselves talk, along with love the sound of their name. So if they have the ability to talk and you're asking them to talk to you, chances are they're going to open up. And mind you, you're going to ask that question because you actually do care. You're not just going to ask that and be like, okay, is this guy or this lady, is she done? Don't ask that question if you really don't care. So I'm just curious to know, what is your guys' icebreaker? When you guys are, and don't tell me, how was your weekend? Don't ask me that question, or don't tell me that you asked, how was your weekend and what did you do? What did you do this past weekend? Don't share that. Let me know what you say and what do you ask that is different, to get people to open up. So let me know in the comments. Thank you, guys.
I like that. If you're somebody who likes to have more of those personal and deep conversations, what you want to just be doing is looking for the opening so that you can both walk through that gate.
Yeah.
So let's say if you were going to your best friend's wedding.
All right, let me see here. Let me go back to the chat. I see here. Oh, there you go, Michelle, Team Live. And a shout out to Michelle's magazine right here. South Atlanta. There you go. Shout out. That's what's up. Alrighty. 50-50. Alrighty. So my dude says 50-50. So this is Chad. He's talking about what he'd like to do in the weekend. He does a little bit of this and a little bit of that. This guy likes turning wrenches. Yeah. This guy likes doing that because why? He likes to work with cars and trucks, and he's turning his kid into a what do they call that? I don't know. A garage guy. Well, let's go with that, So yeah, let's see here. So far, let's see what we got going on here. So we got, my lady says, communication, lift them up. That's key. That's key. I love that. Let's see what he has here. Oh, that's a good topic. Thank you. I appreciate that. Can we repost the link? I'll repost the link right now. Give me 1 second. Here's the link to join. So give me 1 second. And if you guys want to join, this is the link to join the conversation. So give me 1 second. There you go. That's the link to join. And I may go back to you guys' comments, and then we'll go back to the conversation. Apparently, my computer's been working strange. Hey, I can understand that. Hey, guys, outstanding. We got over 100 chats, so thank you very much for Restream just said that. So we're having a great conversation thus far. Keep it coming. Don't be shy. I don't bite. I might nibble a little bit. That's about it. Nothing else. All right, so, what a surprise. Michelle is an extrovert. Boy, she has to. Yeah, I mean, this woman she's building a legacy here in South Atlanta, so she has to be extrovert. She has to be out in front. I'm sure that when time comes that she hits that clock out button for the night or for the day, I know, lights out. So I'm curious to know, you guys watching this here live or even the replay, when you guys hit the bed, do you guys go to sleep right away, or do you guys take time to go to sleep? So when you get to bed, let me know. When you get to bed, say, when I get to bed, I fall asleep right away. Or when I get to bed, do you sit back and watch TV for an hour, or do you get to bed and you start checking TikTok, Instagram, and all that? What is it exactly? Or better yet, when you get to bed, you take your sleeping pills and then you wait for it to kick in. So let me know, or let me know what your version is. So I'm just curious to know about that. I see my dude Rouse is in the house. Rick Rouse. So I'll get with you in a moment. I may see what else we got here. My dude here, extrovert all the way. What a surprise. That's how you gotta be, Let's see what we got here. We got Maria says you could pick up the energy specifically to on difficult people. That's an interesting point. I thank you very much for sharing that, Maria, because you could definitely, when you're interacting with people, like the example that I talked about earlier, when you're calling someone, you say, hey, how are you? You could tell by that response that either they're going to be warm, they're going to be difficult, or they're going to be guarded by their tone, because their tone is going to tell you how they want to be talked to, chances are. So they're going to say, fine. Oh, I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. So it depends. So let's see what so she says an introvert. I don't know about you. You might be an introvert, but you're definitely an extrovert in the comments. So thank you. I appreciate that. So we got here. So yeah, my dude is turning wrenches. He likes turning those wrenches, So let me know in the comments. So you guys are lefty or righty when you turn wrenches? All right, Charles from Nashville. He's a 100% extrovert. So let's see here what we got going on. Let me bring up my dude, and we continue with the comments here. What's going on, baby?
What's going on, Marcello?
What's going on, man? I'm thank you very much for joining the chat. How are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. I'm chilling out with just one hustle today, and some Adirondack Brewery.
Oh, let me put it in the screen. Let me see.
There we go.
Put it in the screen there. All right.
Adirondack Brewery.
Okay. And how's that? Is that like an IPA?
Yeah, it's an IPA. It's Wave 15. I don't know. Hops, Bravo, Calypso, and Simcoe, whatever that is. It's delicious.
Is it?
Oh yeah, it's super good.
That's what I'm talking about. See, somebody's drinking. Let me know if you guys. Also, this is a cocktail with Chello. So if you guys are having a cocktail, having a tea, having wine, let me know in the comments. And if so, what type as well. I'd love to get recommendations. So I appreciate that. So let's see what we got here in the comments here. We got Mr. Earl Major. What's going on, man? Thank you very much for coming through. Thank you for the support. I appreciate that. He says Prime Video, endless wonderful documentaries. Huh. Okay, so Prime, so I guess what he does on the weekend when he recharges, he watches like, Amazon Prime Video, and he watches a lot of documentaries. That's a good time to do that because sometimes those are the kind of things that you just want to sit back and vegetate. So before I continue with the comments, what's your thought on the? So you do turning wrenches on the weekend. That's what you like to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Turning wrenches is it's my nirvana, I guess you would call it.
Mm-hmm.
It's the thing that I can do where I don't have to worry about anything. It's my escape from reality.
No, I got you. No, I understand where you're coming from. And everybody got their own thing. So in your case, it's turning wrenches. For me, I got endless technology projects that is ridiculous to the point like, okay, I have another computer that I need to set up, and I've had it for weeks and I haven't set it up yet because I know that I'm gonna just get lost with that, and sometimes I don't even want to be bothered. So let me see.
Yeah.
So my dude chats at 50-50. So he likes to relax and watch TV and vegetate, but also likes to go out and hang out with family. So I like that. I appreciate it. And Chad, as you watch this, let me know what you like to do. One of the 50s, meaning when you watch TV and relax, what are the shows or movies you like to watch or a particular genre? I'm just curious to know about that. Team Live, this is my later here. Thank you very much for this show. I appreciate the support. Let's see here. What else we got here? Going out of it. Show out your personality. So, okay, grow out of it. Okay, I like that. Sometimes you just have to do that. See, look at this. This is Maria. Maria says she's an introvert. I don't know about that. Maria's an extrovert, or maybe she's an omnivert. What you think, Christopher? You think she's you've been reading the comments. She's been pretty involved.
Just because somebody's active in the it all really depends on interpersonal action. Like from person to person causes different stressors to come to the surface. Where over the internet you can kind of put up a wall and feel safe.
I guess you're right. I never thought about that. I do remember that sometimes people do like to comment on different social platforms anonymously because there's no nothing they could do that and not worry about it. So yeah, you're right about that. Thank you for sharing that. You said yeah, you're a shoepreneur. No time to get away and got everything going on. I like that. Yeah, we talked about that before. You had a link, and put that in the comments. Share the link to the post that you did about a new project that you're talking about. So we'll definitely want to take a moment to share your comments on that shortly. So that's gonna be a teaser. Once we get done in the middle of this, I want to get your point. Share your story about your latest project. Okay, so
Sure.
we'll definitely put a link to that. Thank you.
No
Let's see.
problem.
So Maria says that she likes to get out of town and go to museums. Huh. It's fun you bring that up, Maria, because we like to travel in our house, and we were thinking about going to like Savannah. We were thinking about going to Puerto Rico, but we realized we couldn't, or not couldn't. We didn't want to because the steps that it requires for you to get verified now, because you got to get a Corvette test, and you got to go through a whole bunch of rigmarole. So we decided not to do that. We're just gonna probably just travel, in state. So, and when you travel, Maria, tell me where you like to travel. And tell me pre-COVID. Let's consider that. So, if you like to travel abroad, where you like to travel, and if so, where. So, thank you. And so she's talking about explore. Most likely, this is Chad. So, Chad is saying all things outdoor. Okay, I like that. And now, Chad, you say all things outdoor. I'm curious to know when you're outdoor, what do you like to do? Do you like to hike? Do you like to ride? And I say that because I like to ride off-road bike. I have an off-road bike in my garage, and we go to a park and we just go riding bikes or go camping. So I'm curious to know what do you like to do? You're engaging with the comments. So good. Yeah, good. I like that. Thank you. I appreciate that. And adventure places, travel. Okay, good. All right, guys. So let me now before I bring on the podcast, I want you. Did you put a link to that yet?
The shoes are there.
Okay, you put it in
I
the
was
comments
just
already.
I was just trying to give myself a shameless plug and throw a coupon on there.
Yeah, when you get a chance, put a link to that so people can actually see that while we are chatting. So I'm gonna bring that up. All right.
Yep.
So it looks like Maria, she's gonna be leaving us. So thank you very much for stopping by. And I see that Maria's saying she'd like to go to beaches. Okay, I can relate to that.
Woohoo! Gotta love beaches.
Beaches are freaking cool. So I got the link here. I'm bringing it up here now. So let's see here. Let's bring this up. So talk to me about this here. This project that you're working on here.
So this project came about actually, I don't know, probably 3 to 5 years ago, and it was something that I was like, "Oh, this is neat. I'm gonna look at this, and I'm gonna run with this for a while." And I never ran with it. I never really did anything with it. I kind of created some dummy kind of shoe, put it there, and then did literally nothing with it. So I set it down and I walked away. I went and did umpteen million other things, and it's not until recently that I kind of, I went back into this because this provides me an outlet to be more creative. And with zero shoes, it it goes. It goes. I can be creative. I can share my vision and my thoughts with the world, and you get a great pair of shoes out of it too. They're handcrafted out of Italy. So that is my latest venture. I also put a $30 coupon in the chat as well, so that if anybody wants to help me get to those first three, I can sort of run with this, and I can make more than one shoe. I can release a whole line, get some men's shoes, some women's shoes, even some kids shoes up in there, and I can make custom shoes too.
Now let me think about what you're doing here. Now, what inspired you to, of all things that you could get into, why shoes, footwear? Why did you decide to go that direction?
Because I've always had a fascination with footwear, although I never had Jordans, I never had Air Force Ones or any of the super expensive shoes because I have wide feet, and it wasn't a space that I ever really got any knowledge about or gained any knowledge in. While all of my cousins always had super nice shoes, I was kicking Walmart specials because I was rough on my shoes. I
Yeah.
was, I destroyed shoes because I was out running around and doing stupid stuff and getting stuck in the cars while everybody else is more into their shoe than they're into their cell phones, wallets, watches, and girlfriends.
Yeah, so you never wore your shoes like this, like on your head like that before, right? You
Uh,
never did that before, right?
Probably at some point I did, I would imagine, but
No, I can relate to buying a whole bunch of craziness. Like I'm looking at some of the shoes that I have around here, and I got sneakers, and so I can definitely relate with the sneakers and the fascination with that. So, I mean, I'm happy for you, and I'm glad that you got a project in place that is unique to you, and I like the name as well that you created, that you decided to go with. And outside of talking here, I love to for us to probably even set up a LinkedIn Live in the future and talk about that, and maybe even set it up, maybe 15-minute long LinkedIn Live that you can utilize. That if you come across someone that's interested in backing you, then you can say, hey, you know what? I could right now. I'm busy, or I know, or better yet, I know you're busy. Can I send you a link to a conversation I had with Marcello about the shoes? It's brief, and you can get a concept of why I decided to go with this. So I'm bringing this up to you, Christopher. So think about what topics you want to focus on, like key points, so like three key points why you got into this, and let's talk about that. And that should take about 15 minutes, and then you can utilize that and put that on your LinkedIn profile page on the feature section, and even share with others. So
that would be
consider
dope.
that. Okay.
I appreciate you, Marcello.
You're welcome. My pleasure. My pleasure. So let me get back to what we got here on the podcast. And let me bring this up here. So give me 1 second. What are your thoughts about the topic for today? How to talk to strangers.
Um, I love the topic because it's something that I'm really good at.
Mm-hmm.
I I grew up. I mean, I grew up talking. I'm a talker
Yeah.
by nature. It's what I do.
And let me ask you this: like, what are the things? Like, okay, and you and I, it's safe to say that we find it easy to talk to strangers. What are the things that you think you do better than others, and why? you are good when it comes down to speaking to strangers? Like, if you could just think about something specifically, what do you think you do differently?
Uh, I treat everybody just like they were my own brother or sister. It doesn't matter what color you are, what size you are. It doesn't matter if you have Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, if you're a smoker, a non-smoker, a fitness junkie. I'm gonna treat you the exact same way as I would my own brother. I'm gonna joke. I'm gonna throw you something that's gonna throw you off center, and it's either gonna make you laugh or you're not gonna like me. But either way, you're gonna remember me. You're gonna remember my name. You're gonna remember my face, and I'm somebody who you can't really get away from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So so even if I had like tattoos and I have my face look all like this, you'll still treat me the same way. That's what you're telling me, right?
Actually, one of my very good friends has horns tattooed on his forehead. I'm not joking. He's got horns tattooed on his forehead. He's got a 9 tattooed in the middle of his face, and we became near best friends over a headbutt many, many years ago.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Mind you, as I say that, and I use that as an example, in my line of business, it don't make a difference to me if you got tattoos, no tattoos, you got earrings, you got no earrings, or you got big old hoops in your ears, and you got what they call those you
Gauges.
Gauges. Thank you. I don't care. You'd be surprised. Those people that live that lifestyle is about that life. Those are the most welcoming people and culture I've known. And it's something about that living that lifestyle that they're they don't judge. And this is my experience with individuals that are like tattoo artists, work in bike shops. You know what I mean? You get what I'm talking about? I mean, yeah. So you'd be surprised. So never judge a book by its cover. So
Absolutely not.
So let me get back to the podcast here. And right now we're about halfway through it.
That's actually an easy one, right? How do you know the bride? How do you know the groom? Where did you meet? You can come prepared with a couple of stories that you might tell. And it doesn't take that long. Like, spend 3 minutes beforehand thinking of what those openers might be.
Having a question in your back pocket, that's just one of many ways for mastering small talk. And when we come back, we'll hear a lot more of those suggestions.
So, do you have a question in your back pocket when you meet someone that you could always count on?
I mean, it's really situational. Because I guess my default question would be, "What do you think of the weather we're having?" Because it's always going to give you an answer. It's not necessarily going to give you the answer you want to hear, but you're always going to get some sort of an answer, and you can kind of use that to gauge what mood that person's in, and then you can kind of tiptoe and sidestep from there.
Yeah, and I guess you're right. I mean, questions like that, those are the classic questions, and you can never go wrong with some of the classic questions. When someone gets asked that question, chances are they know why that question was asked, either for 2 reasons, either for small talk or as a buffer for them to either think about what they're going to ask next, or as they gather their thoughts or gather what they're looking for. So I could be like, "So Christopher, what do you think about the weather that we're having? What do you think about that?"
Mm-hmm.
So chances are they know. So they could go, like what you're saying. You can get a gauge of how the conversation might go. So good point. I like that. Let me see here. Let me go back to where we're at.
And a great boss.
Spicy hummus mac and cheese by the...
No, climate change is to blame for major weather. And so she has episodes on how we know climate change is to blame for major weather events and why the seasonal flu vaccine changes every year. Just search for Everyday Einstein wherever you listen to podcasts. We're back with our listener, Amy, and our expert, Susan Kane. Amy says it's particularly hard to be an introvert as the manager of a 55-person staff.
I know that people expect leaders to be really present and approachable. And I feel like the expectation that I'm sort of available to everybody all the time feels a little bit overwhelming to me, because I tend to be quiet and be in my office and kind of doing the work that I need to do. So I think those are the expectations that really make me feel like, oh, I need to sort of change who I am, or I need to be better at this.
If it was up to you, do you think you do need to be more approachable, and do you need to be out there more, or can you do a good job as a leader just being in your office?
I feel like I do a really good job with the work that I need to do. But I do lead a team, and so I do need to, be able to connect with them. I need to build trusting relationships with them, and they need to trust me. And in order for them to do that, they need to know me.
So, Susan, what do you think Amy should do? I mean, is the right answer for her to try and change who she is?
No, I would ask you to step aside from the way of thinking of I have to change who I am. I've been listening to you. You're
Let's see. Let me go back to. I noticed we had a few questions here, but it's not showing on my restream. But I wanted to let me see if I can bring it up in a different area. But I just brought up LinkedIn. I saw I had a couple of questions that I didn't see in my restream chat. So I see that Charles Watson, and if you don't have a separate screen, Christopher, bring it up. Charles Watson asked you, how are you marketing your project or your product?
Yep, I just put a comment in the chat.
You did? Okay, so thank you. I want to make sure that you could jump on that. And I see that
Absolutely.
Maria's saying a live shoes impact. Okay, I like that. Thank you. I appreciate that. Let me see here. And let me see what else we got here. And Janelle is in the house. What's going on? That's my lady. What's going on? I appreciate that. Let me know what part of town you're watching us. You might have been traveling. You could be in Puerto Rico. Hopefully you're not, because you gotta go through all these different steps. What part of town or part of the country you watching me live from? And also, obviously you're watching Team Live, so let me know Team Live there as well. So thank you. Janelle, what we're talking about, and people that are watching right now just jumping on the chat, the topic of today's discussion is how to talk to strangers. That's the topic, and we're listening to a podcast and engaging in the podcast, and we're stopping it occasionally, and Chris just joined the conversation, and we're gonna have a topic. We're gonna have a conversation around the topic, and we can exchange best practices here. So I welcome everyone that's watching this conversation here live and also in the replay to share their thoughts. And if you're watching a replay, be sure to say at me, Marcello, or at Christopher Rouse, so we could continue the conversation after the live broadcast. So thank you, Janelle. Hello, what's going on? Yay!
Welcome, people.
Yeah,
this is my favorite time of the week,
isn't it? Thank you.
It is though.
That. Let me see here. So we got Keep It Organic leading. Janelle says Keep It Organic lending can help at both introvert and extrovert levels. Okay, I like that. Oh, I see I got a couple of folks that just chimed in. I got Rebecca Thornton that just gave me a like. Thank you very much, Rebecca. Thank you very much for your support. I love that. And Bill Weber stopped by earlier. And Maria Yola Frances. Thank you very much for joining us. I appreciate that. And if you guys continue watching this chat, let me know if you like what you're listening to. Give me a like. Give me a hug. So as you continue watching the show, let me know. So again, the topic is how to talk to strangers, and we're going to get right back to the show. So thank you very much for that. Give me 1 second. I'm going to bring it back.
incredibly open. You're incredibly articulate.
Oh, and you guys just happen to join. The questions that I've asked earlier were, if you are an introvert, let me know. If you're an extrovert, let me know. Then if you're a combination of the two, which I believe is an amnivert, let me know that in the comments. And secondly, during the weekends when you're hanging out and you're decompressing, so to speak, let me know, what do you like to do? Do you like to relax and recharge your battery and binge and watch TV? And if so, what do you like to do? So let me know if you like to binge and watch TV, and what do you like to watch. But if you're opposite and you like to get out and hang out with family and do things outdoorsy like shopping and spend, well, so share that with me. Thank you very much for getting. Let me go back to the podcast.
It doesn't sound to me like there's anything that you need to change about who you are. What I think you're really saying is that you might want to be stepping outside your comfort zone more often and acquiring new skills that you can then use outside that comfort zone. But that's really different from changing who you are fundamentally.
Here's our next rule. Don't feel like you have to change who you are. Even if you struggle with small talk or making new relationships, you don't have to adopt a new outgoing personality or pretend to be an extrovert. Instead, Susan says, think of small talk as a muscle, something that you can make stronger through practice.
Don't feel weird about prepping for it. Before you set out to walk those hallways, you might just write down a few different conversation starters that you can use. And that's no different from prepping for any other kind of meeting. And it can really work well. And it's funny, as I'm saying this, I'm thinking of a time that I did this when I was like 14 years old. And I don't think I've thought about it since then, but it just popped into my head, which is I remember having a crush on a guy, and I was going to be getting on the phone with him for the first time, because back then it was all happening over the phone. And I remember worrying that we were going to run out of things to say. So I jotted down a few conversation starters on a piece of paper beforehand. And I felt like a total idiot doing that. But I did it, and it was incredibly successful. The thing is, I didn't have to do that for the rest of my life in those kinds of conversations. It was like that was the thing that I had to do until I got into the groove of knowing how to have those kinds of conversations.
I love the idea of writing down ideas. Yeah, I think that's great. And sounds like something I'm definitely the kind of person who would like make a list and be really organized. And, if I was going to attend a meeting or deliver a speech, a public speech or something, I would prep for it and have some kind of statements or ideas in my pocket so it makes sense to do.
Okay, so that's an interesting question now I wanted to go. Now, when it comes down to meetings, and or an event that you're about to attend, Chris, what would you do? Let's say a networking event. I mean, you and I do a lot of networking events. So would you plan for the event? And if so, how would you plan for it? Or if you don't plan, why you feel like you don't need to plan?
It's all situational. So it really depends on the event that you're going to. If you're in a networking event, it's a great idea to have your 30-second elevator pitch ready and at the ready, because you never know where you're going to be and how much time you're going to have. So you want to make your information clear, concise, and succinct so you can get it out. And then the rest of it can be all filler, because you may have 1 to 2 minutes in an online networking event to really get who you are and what you're doing across the board. And then the magic happens, because after they know who you are, what you do, it's no longer about who I am, what I do. It's how we're going to connect, and then how we're going to continue this discussion at another date so we can build rapport that leads to either client acquisition or a referral partner.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever, I'm just curious to know, any horror stories or any success stories from a networking event recently that you could share with us?
Sure. So there was this lady who shall remain nameless. I think she's probably a really nice person outside of what she does with his networking events. Mm-hmm. But we had a one-to-one conversation a couple of days after a networking event, and it was so bye. This is what you're going to do for me. This is what I want you to do for me. Bye. And then I'll do something for you afterwards. I wanted to bang my head off a wall. We haven't had a one-to-one conversation since, and I don't plan to have a one-to-one conversation with her, nor does she really need the access to, my network. My network has since grown to almost 500 people. And I hold myself to a certain level of integrity. I feel like she doesn't have that same level of integrity. It's just, it's horrific. I couple that with the story of working in door-to-door sales. The company that I was working for at the time sent me to an elderly woman's house. Now, this lady was 147. Didn't even control her own money, because she just wasn't all with it. And they told me that I was going to try to sell her windows. Now, her house was easily 15 to 20 windows. It was easily a $60,000 to $70,000 job. I refused because of the level of my integrity would not allow me to try to sell a woman who didn't even know what was going on in her own home. Right. So I called the president of the company. I cursed him up one side and down another, and then they 10 minutes later they gave me another lead.
See, that speaks volume about who you are and what you are willing to accept. So that's what it comes down to. I could definitely relate to those horror stories of dealing with someone that is a me scenario. And I usually, when I see those scenarios, I'm sure you did the same way. To, go through the motion and gracefully bow out, or you can still gracefully bow out. But what I've done to legitimize my thought of them, that is a me, I generally and I challenge you to do this because this is not going to be the first or the last time you're going to get someone that's going to be all about them. I challenge you to ask the individual to give the individual homework. So let me give you an example. So you're on a call and you're meeting someone and they say, "Hey, yeah, we should collaborate. We should do this and we should do that, and this is what I think we should do, and this is what I think is gonna be great." And yeah, you can write down what they're suggesting, or maybe record the call, so then you could just play it back later and share it with them. Or so then at the end you'll be like, "Okay, good." And I'm sure these things that I'm thinking about is gonna come up naturally to you. So you can say, hey, let's say if you and I are talking, and it's me and you, I'm like, okay, I love what you're talking about, Chris. I'm excited to be of service to you. Really am. And I'm trying to find ways of how we can make sure that this is mutually beneficial for both of us. This is what I need you to do. And then you hit them with, yeah. And see, these are the two things. So this is the uppercut, all right? Mutually beneficial, and I want to be respectful of your time. Bam. So those are the two things you hit them. So you say, hey,
oh, that
Chris,
is super. That's nice.
Yeah, so Chris, I want to make sure that I want to be respectful of your time, and I appreciate the time that we spent thus far. So I want to make sure that this relationship that we're having, because we're starting off from scratch, that is mutually beneficial for both of us. So this is what I need you to do, and for us to make sure that this will determine our next steps. And then whatever that you could come up with is, okay, can you give me a rundown of ba 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 ba, detail exactly ba 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 ba, and give me that information and list it for me. Do me a favor and send it to me via email at least 24 to 48 hours before we follow up, before our next call. So do this, and then prior to following up with me for us to firm up a time, have this ready. And so I'll wait for you to get back with me, but get this detail broken down for me. And once you got that ready, then let's get back together, and then let's firm up a time for us to continue this conversation. How's that sound?
That is lovely, Marcello. I love that.
You see? Because then at that point, you're taking now the ball is in their court. So then at that point, if they come back, okay, all right, that person she might have something, or he might have something. Now you can look at what he or she wrote down, and you can like, okay, now I like this. Maybe I was early to prejudge, but I tell you this much, Christopher, most of the time they don't come back.
Yeah, because they don't. They want to take. It's the old adage: give an inch, to take a mile.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's why it happens. So yeah. So you do that, then what happens is you leave on a high note, and they know that they had to follow up with you, not the other way around. So just consider that.
That's a good one.
Thank you, man. Let me go back to the podcast.
Here's another rule. It's okay to prepare for small talk, even if doing so kind of feels ridiculous. Just spend a few minutes rehearsing a couple of opening lines. You won't have to do this forever. It's just until you develop that muscle memory. And also, make sure those opening lines aren't just questions.
For many introverts, the problem that they actually get into is asking too many questions. For many introverts, it's much easier to be the person who's not revealing the information and who instead is asking the other person lots of things about themselves. And the trouble that you can get into with that is it ends up sounding too much like an interview or even an interrogation.
Absolutely. I find myself definitely leaning towards asking them a whole bunch of questions, and which can feel like an interview. And I think about, like, in a work environment, like, how much of my personal self should I be sharing with people, and how does that impact their view of me as a leader? So I feel like maybe I'm a little bit too cautious about revealing too much about myself.
Yeah, and it sounds to me like what you might be sort of intuiting. There is an interesting study that found that when within a work hierarchy, people are very comfortable when their peers reveal vulnerabilities about themselves, but they become less comfortable when people who are senior in the hierarchy do it.
Right.
But I would say there's still...
Let me go back to the comments. I see that the comments are not coming through, so I'm back to the LinkedIn, and I see that my dude chat is saying, check my DM. I'll check it out, so thank you very much for that. I see Charles is saying, I personally do not plan. Okay, so he doesn't plan for that. I can definitely relate to that. A room of 100 strangers is a room of 100 opportunities to sell yourself. I believe that a standard elevator pitch could hurt you based on personality types. Yeah, I mean, and you make a good point on that, Charles. But the fact is, either if you have a standard message or not, it's all how you deliver it. Because let's say, for instance, you can still have the standard message, and what I mean by that is that the message that we're talking about is essentially a script. And if we all been in sales, and it appears that Charles, you're in sales, I'm in sales, and also Christopher's in sales, a script is a script. A script is a script. It's how you deliver the script. So a script is a format. Is, the subject, the body, and maybe a conclusion. You know what I mean? So you have to have, it depends how you deliver it. So sometimes you might deliver it, very energetic, or you pick and choose how you say it. So that's what it comes down to. But essentially, you still want to have a format, or a guideline, or let's say a skeleton, lack of better words, something that you could fall back on, and okay, I need to say this first, and then I need to say this, and I need to say that. But essentially, you want to cover all bases. How you deliver it is irrelevant. Is really, I guess, going back to what you said, Charles. You deliver it based on the personality that's in front of you. So, what's your thoughts on that, Christopher?
I agree with you 110%. If your message doesn't convey what you do, you've effectively not done anything, really. I mean, I'm a fan of small talk, and that's because I'm a talker, and that's just kind of who I've always been. But when I sold windows and doors, especially, right, that process is not short. It is the longest play a salesman, to my knowledge, will have, unless you're talking about satellites, which can take years to launch. Right? So I was literally the person that you knew was coming, and you knew you were going to say no. And the first thing I had to do was knock on your door and sell my way into your home. So it was, hi, my name is Chris. I'm with Phillips Home Solutions. I know you know about they called for like a sweepstakes. That's how window companies get you. They call you for a sweepstakes, and then you go into the home. Then you have to talk your way into getting a grand tour of the home so you can measure the windows. And then that's when all the fun begins. Because either you go and you do it first and you try to get down to business, which usually doesn't work, or you go into the home after you sell it in, and then you drop down on the couch, you put your bags down, and you start having a conversation. And the conversation, it doesn't even matter what the conversation is about. The conversation could be about why is the sky blue, but you take the next 25 to 30 minutes just to build rapport with the customer. There's no worse place to be sold than at your own home. Because if you feel like you've been taken advantage of in your own home, then it's not good. It's not a good deal. It's not a good feeling, and it leaves that person with a sour taste in their mouth against every kind of salesperson there is.
Yeah, I can definitely understand that, and you can have some level of resentment. So either with the person and even with the company. So I can relate to that. And let me see another comment that Janelle said. Janelle says she agrees with Charles, and she says that there is no one size fits all. So not every elevator pitch or speech fits everyone. I do plan when attending an event if there is a specific person I'm trying to connect with for business to find out if there's any mutually added value. So basically, you want to make sure if there's a good fit for each other before moving forward. So I guess the way she's gonna find a way to build rapport is to find some commonality between him or her. And she continues to say, but in a room of 10 or 100 people, be yourself is key. Even if you're there to sell or just keep it neutral. So that's the key thing. I think when it comes down to it, unfortunately, I feel that especially now how trying times that we're in, individuals go in there with a specific focus and mindset or a target, and if they don't meet that, as the day continues or the evening continues, the window or the Zoom call starts wrapping up, their sense of desperation might heighten, which ultimately could compromise any future relationships that they could have. So, I mean, I agree with what Janelle says, and um, I tell you this much: when it comes down to interacting with individuals, perfect strangers, or even someone I work with forever, I generally, I really just want to help. I mean, it's kind of corny. I'm sorry, but I love to help people, and in doing that, I don't. I sometimes I even forget to get a commitment. And what I mean by to get a commitment, meaning okay, after we're talking, generally at the end of a meeting, what is key is to determine our next steps. Determine our next steps and gain a commitment of those next steps. For instance, if I'm talking to you, Christopher, and we say, "Hey, Christopher, thank you very much for talking to me today and explaining to me your process," and at this point, I'm going to recap what we discussed. Then I'm going to gain some commitments of our next steps. So now, Christopher, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back to the office and I'm gonna create a proposal in line of what we discussed. In the meantime, I need you to do this, do this, and do that. And this, if we can, if it's okay with you, let's circle back 2 days from now. Is 1 o'clock that day work? Can you check your calendar? So chances are, sometimes I forget to do that right at the time, because you want to gain an agreement so you can know exactly how that's going to move forward. So I've been guilty of doing that. So I will say that because I'm so caught up
Me too.
on, you know, just in the moment that I forget about the purpose of the meeting. So I can definitely understand. What's your thoughts on that before we go back to the podcast?
Oh, once again, we're right on par, Marcello, because I'm totally guilty of forgetting to gain a commitment because I get wrapped up in conversation or we start talking about something that somehow takes a left turn, and while the conversation is focused on business,
Mm-hmm.
it it becomes more of a rapport building conversation where business is kind of mixed in, and I sometimes I just clearly forget to get that and figure out what those next steps are, so I can help that potential client get to their next level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and mind you, as you say that, I think about as we discuss this here. The key thing is as we talk about this, as you watch this here, and you guys are in sales. Consider if you already have something in place. Consider have something of visual representation or of a checklist. Like, okay, you did the intro, talked about the agenda, ask key questions, determine if there's make a suggestion for a proposal, and gain agreement for next steps, and then ask, close the sale. You know what I mean? Maybe we need to have a visual representation as a check mark, almost like think about like a tiny chalkboard. So imagine if you had like a tiny chalkboard in front of you, and you could just have it, and you could just erase it whenever you're ready, and you could just write down. And then in doing so, if you do that every single time, and what I mean by that, have it blank, don't pre-populate it. So every single time you jump on a call, you write down what you want to accomplish out of that call, and as you go through that call, you can check it off. Literally, I'm saying this because I just thought about it. I don't do this, but I think that this is something that we should all do, especially if we're in sales, because we that will allow us to stay on task and ensure that each call is optimized. So,
Most assuredly, that's a great point.
yeah, that's the key thing. Yeah, and mind you, and this is why I like to do these calls, these LinkedIn lives, but I gain a lot of ideas as we have conversation, and that's why I like to have these calls with you and everyone else that join, because ideas just start popping. It just comes, and it works out. All right, let me see what else we got here. Now let's continue on.
Talk about within your own life that doesn't get into any kind of danger zone. What people are really communicating when they talk with each other is emotional life. And so what you really want to be telegraphing is your warmth and your interest in them. And the topic is almost beside the point.
This is the next rule.
That's what
It's fine to prepare for social
The topic is beside the point. Didn't we just talk about that?
Yeah, actually, we did.
We just said that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. This is crazy. Let me go back a minute.
Interactions by writing down.
If that doesn't get into any kind of danger zone. What people are really communicating when they talk with each other is emotional life. And so what you really want to be telegraphing is your warmth and your interest in them. And the topic is almost beside the point.
Oh my God, dude. I would say this, and I'm being absolutely transparent. And I said this in the beginning of the show. I'm listening to this podcast episode for the first time. Right now, live with you guys. Ain't that crazy? We just said that before we played it. So I guess we're halfway there. We're already doing the right thing. It's just reinforcing the right behaviors.
Absolutely.
Let me see here. Let me see what we got in the chat. Let me go back. Let me refresh this chat page, because sometimes it doesn't come through. I see that I got my dude. Okay, so Charles followed up. Charles Watson said, valid point. I have found myself struggling to stay on top of a script when selling or networking. So when he says is, when I know my purpose of the call or the meeting, I find more success going off the tone and the mood of the room, guided by conversations and speaking points. Yeah, I mean, literally, it's just like what we just heard on the podcast just now. Just going with the motion, going with the flow. I see my dude Ryan is in the house, so thank you very much for giving me a shout out, or even giving me a thumbs up. And then Janelle replied back with a thumbs up to Charles. So see, it looks like that we managed to have a great conversation and no shots were fired. So thank you very much, you guys, for sharing your thoughts here in the comments as well. Let me see what else we got going on. Let me go back to the podcast and let me know what you guys think. If you guys like what we'll be talking about, the topic about how to talk to strangers, let me know. Just say I like it. Just say it in the comments. Or if you like to talk about something else, the other two topics I was considering were how to stop procrastination, and the second and the third and then the third topic was 7 reasons why you may not be successful on LinkedIn. So those are the two topics. So if you wanted to talk about that let me know, and we could talk about that at another time. So let me continue on with the podcast, guys.
This is the next rule. It's fine to prepare for social interactions by writing down conversation starters. But just because you have all these questions in your head, that doesn't mean you have to ask all of them. A conversation should be a two-way street. And so the more you talk about yourself, the more you make it easier for other people to talk about themselves. Is part of what's happening when Amy is hesitant to share something about herself is, as you just mentioned, Amy, like worrying what the other person might think about you. Is that something that introverts are more concerned about usually than extroverts?
One thing Amy had said earlier on when you were first talking, you were saying that you don't want to be a burden to people, and you feel like you're kind of taking their time and getting them into a conversation that they'd rather not be having. And I'm guessing part of that is because you might feel that way yourself. Like, I think you would honestly prefer to be doing your work and spending your social energy on people who you know really well. And so you're actually, in a way, being very empathetic to other people when you're wishing to relieve them of the burden of you talking to them, because I think you're hoping to respect them.
Yeah.
So that might be a place where you want to make a kind of mind shift and know, especially in your capacity as a leader, that you are performing an act of generosity by engaging them, even if it's somebody like you who normally prefers to sit with their head down at their desk.
Yeah, I definitely catch myself sort of projecting my own preference for quiet.
And I would say even for the people who you encounter who are more introverted like you, where you sense that actually they would prefer not to have the small talk, even for those people, they will often feel pleasantly surprised to have engaged in it.
Part of my sort of pushing myself to be more available to staff, I started scheduling some little getting to know you sessions with the indirect reports. And I had one session with one of my employees, and she had mentioned that she was also very introverted. And at the end of the meeting, she said, "Thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I really appreciated it. I really enjoyed getting to know you a little bit." So it was some good positive reinforcement for those types of meetings. But I have to admit that it was really draining for me, and I enjoyed getting to know her and talking to her. But I have not been good about scheduling more of those meetings, even though I know I need to.
Yeah. One tip that I have for that would be to schedule those meetings for first thing in the morning, because part of what's draining for you, I'm guessing, is just the anticipation all day long that you're going to have this meeting that you're thinking is going to be uncomfortable. And that in and of itself is draining. You and all of us really need to make our daily schedules by paying attention to our emotional lives. So if you know that you're scheduling something that's going to be draining you, you should be scheduling after that something that is going to feel restorative to you.
So here's another rule.
Now, when it comes down to, so let me ask you this. What do you find yourself, and I'll ask this to the crowd, and I'll ask you this as well, Christopher. What do you guys, what do you like to do to recharge? And I guess I'm not talking about the weekend, to balance things out. I mean, do you find yourself jumping on social media as a way to get like some sort of guilty pleasure and get that boost of endorphin, so then that allows you to keep trucking throughout the day? Do you like to eat a bowl of cereal? Or do you snack on some chocolates? It could be anything. I mean, or it could be maybe calling your mother. What is it when you're throughout the day to balance things out? what do you guys like to do to get through the day? So I'm curious to know, Christopher, what is it that you like to do to balance things out as you're getting through the day? Because every day is not perfect, and every day is not predictable. So I'm just curious to know, when you hit a wall and you need to keep going, what is it that you do to try to get a little bit of mojo to keep going? I can't hear you. Just want to let you know your mic is muted.
So there we go.
Yeah, man.
So it really depends on the mood. If I'm angry, I might like go outside and jump up and down and do some like fake wrestler moves or something.
Yeah.
But if it's like a mental block, sometimes you just have to, whatever you're doing, you have to stop doing what you're doing, go do something completely different, go play video games, go make a pot of coffee, go
Mm-hmm.
drive around for 15 or 20 minutes, and give yourself some time to hit the reset button so you can get back to focus, because once you lose your focus, it's all about how you can get your focus back on the task at hand or the task that needs to get completed.
Yeah. No, I could relate to that. I mean, mine is a little bit. Um, I'll jump on LinkedIn, so that's why sometimes you guys might see me like, this guy's always on LinkedIn. But no, what it is that in between calls or in between stops, I'm like, all right, let me just jump on and see if I have any DMs that I need to respond to, or if somebody responded to a post of mine that they have a question. You know what I mean? See if I can respond to it right then. And the reason why I bring that up is because many of you guys that are watching this here now would know that the level of engagement that you have after an initial post is crucial for the life of the post. So, mind you, I'm not gonna post and then sit back and just wait. I'll go on with my day, but then in between stops or in between calls, and what I mean calls, I mean like physical calls, not phone calls, because that's kind of, now that's a bit neurotic. Okay, all right, you're not gonna buy? Okay, goodbye. Let me see LinkedIn. I'm not doing that. You know what I mean? Yeah, but that's my way of my guilty pleasure, just to balance things out. So you guys, let me know in the comments, what do you guys like to do throughout the day, just to get through the day. So, and we got Mr. Wrestler over here, and I'm me over here, Mr. Social Media. So I'm curious to know what you guys think. Let me go back here. So we're 8 minutes left, maybe even 6 minutes left on the show. It's interesting that I'm listening to that, and I could definitely relate to what they're talking about because I have something that I call my Thankful Tuesdays and Thankful Thursdays. So those 2 days, I what I do throughout the week, I executed those 2 days. So very similar to what you just heard about the executive from Campbell Soup. I throughout the week just randomly. You know what I mean? Let's say for instance, if I come across something one, I'm like, you know what? My exchange that I had with Christopher earlier today was quite remarkable. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna write him a letter. And when I mean my letter, we're talking about it could be something as quick as 10 words, right? But I have in my list my thoughtful Tuesdays and thoughtful Thursdays. I'm gonna write down. So on Tuesday, I'm gonna send Christopher a message. Hey man, thank you very much for helping me out with the ABC project. That was pretty awesome. Thanks again for your help. That's it. Real simple, right to the point. But those are the days, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Those are days that I keep a tally throughout the week. But those are the days that I send it out. So I'm curious to know if what do you guys do if you guys watching the stream? What do you guys do to show your gratitude to people either that you work with or even family? And it can be even family. Sometimes, occasionally, I've been known to create to come home with a thank you note for my wife. You know, just because. So I'm just curious to know. Um, so folks that are watching the stream right now, what we're talking about today, and we're about to wrap up, is how to talk to strangers. And we had a few questions early on the show. One of the questions is if you're an introvert or an extrovert, or maybe the hybrid of the both, which is an ambivert. The other thing was, and during the weekends, when you're relaxing, what do you like to do? Do you like to stay at home and recharge and Netflix and chill and watch a lot of TV shows and movies? And if so, what do you like to watch? Is it Law and Order, or is it a whole bunch of different Netflix shows? And if so, what type of genre you like to watch? And then a second, if you like to go out, what do you like to do? Do you like to spend time with family, or do you like to do things outdoors? You like ride a bike, go camping, go shopping. So let me know that in the comments. And if you're watching us live, let me know in the comments. Hashtag Team Live. If you're watching us on a replay, let us know. Hashtag replay. And what we've been using is that we've been using a podcast called How To. It's from Charles Duhigg. I definitely recommend you guys to check that out. And this is actually the podcast right here. You see we have only about 6 minutes left on the episode. So let's wrap that up right now, guys.
When he first took over at Campbell, it was at the bottom of the employee engagement ratings in the Fortune 500. And when he stepped down, about a decade later, it was at the top.
Amy, what do you think that is for you? What kind of superpower does being an introvert give you that you think makes you a strong leader?
I think that one of my strengths is definitely being very analytical and thinking about ideas and problems in a lot of different ways. And so I really do love hearing other people's perspective on different problems, because I can get really excited about a topic. And if somebody has an interesting perspective or an idea that I hadn't thought about, that's something where I can really connect and open up and engage with other people in a really natural way.
And here's our final rule. Find ways to be a leader that are comfortable for you. And let's be honest, that's easier said than done, because how society sees us based on our gender or other factors, that can influence what we can do comfortably. But at the end of the day, the best leaders are the ones who people trust because they're authentic and they acknowledge their own strengths and their own weaknesses. And Susan, you've written about some of the research showing that introverts actually oftentimes, as leaders, they deliver better outcomes than extroverts. Is that right?
Oh, yeah. And there was research that Adam Grant at the Wharton School did, where he found that when you have a group of proactive and engaged employees, introverted leaders tend to deliver better outcomes than extroverts do. And the reason is really what Amy was just describing, of introverted leaders loving to have that exchange of ideas and wanting to listen to the ideas that their employees are bringing forward. Whereas if you're a leader who's more irrepressible or dominant by nature, you might sincerely want to know other people's ideas, but just have a conversational style where you're not getting them as much and you're less likely to follow them because you are more putting your own stamp on things. But if you've got the proactive employees, the style that you're describing, Amy, is incredibly powerful. Think of yourself as being the host.
Yeah, I really like the idea of assuming the role of the host in whatever situation I'm in, and it's my job to make someone else feel comfortable.
If we're looking back on this from 6 months from now or a year from now, how do you define success?
I think what I would hope for 6 months from now is that I've been practicing all of these things and that I don't have to spend as much time preparing ahead of time, and that I feel much more at ease in these situations so that I don't walk away feeling like, wow, I really bombed that, or I really made that person feel uncomfortable. I would love to walk away from whatever casual social encounter, whether it's at work or, a party, and feel like, hey, that went pretty well. And I met some interesting people, or I got to know somebody a little bit better today.
I really predict that you're going to be there because you're already a great talker and you already communicate a lot of warmth. So all you really need to do is make these few shifts, and I think you're going to have a completely different experience.
Thank you to Amy for talking to me by the punch bowl and for opening up to us. And thank you to...
That was pretty good. I actually enjoyed the discussion. Now, what do you think, just to sum up what we heard today, what do you think about the topic of how to speak to strangers? Do you think that this is a easy thing to overcome, or is it something that is just going to be challenging forever? I mean, what are your thoughts on that topic, how to speak to strangers?
Certainly, talking to strangers isn't necessarily an easy topic, and the reason it's not easy is because, quite frankly, we're programmed to not talk to strangers. So we wander around through most of our lives trying to figure out how to make friends, when to make friends you have to talk to strangers. Mm-hmm. So it is a learned behavior that we also have to learn when it is okay, and we have to learn when we should probably shy away from somebody because they're doing something that is perceptively sketchy. But in direct response, for me, it's easy because I'm comfortable in groups of people and I'm comfortable talking to anybody about anything at length. Mm-hmm. For people who are introverted, probably not so much, because it's out of what is deemed their comfort zone.
Yeah, I definitely relate to that. I know sometimes, like, depending on my mood, I could just be, doing nothing. I mean, or I don't want to do anything. I mean, I could. I think that earlier today, I remember in between stops, I was sitting in my car. I was downtown in Peace Street, and literally sitting in my car like this, browsing the web, and I'm like, I gotta get out the car. I gotta get out the car and meet somebody. I gotta go to this building over here, and I sat there for about 15 minutes. I'm like, all right, let me get up. And I got up and continue my day. But that was my sabbatical, 15 minutes. Just, all right, whatever, But I was already out. That's mm-hmm. the key thing. So I already took the step. I already did the biggest step: getting out, getting dressed, taking a shower, brushing my teeth. These are the things that it seems rudimentary, but the fact is now, even though you think that we're at the tail end of COVID, these are traits that we've been doing for the past 3 months, doing nothing. And what I mean doing nothing, meaning some of us might have not taken a shower for days, might have not brushed their teeth for days. I'm sorry, but some people might have done that. might be wearing the same clothes for days. So now that we're going back into the workforce, it's taking some of us to reprogram these good habits, these right behaviors. So now learning or talking to strangers, that might seem like a tall task for many of us. So I could definitely understand how that could be a challenge for someone that generally or originally didn't want to talk to strangers, and now either they lost their job before, and now they got themselves in a role that they have to speak to strangers. So I can see how that could just be something that they they don't even want to even confront. If anything, they want to be like, you know what? Can I just uh uh be like an inbound sales rep and be like, uh
Um,
so it could be like something like that. Nah, but you heard me, right? Yeah. So that's the thing. So yeah. So now, let me ask you this now. The other topics that we had, which was how to how to stop procrastination, and the other topic was 7 steps. Let me go back to that again. 7 reasons why you're not being successful on LinkedIn. Which are the two you're thinking that you will want to talk about next week?
um,
Procrastination, or
yep,
yeah,
procrastination.
yeah, but
Absolutely.
that's something that is either you think that you're not a procrastinator because you might be busy doing something else, or you are aware that you procrastinate but you still can't stop. Which, oh my gosh, we both did it at the same time. We both did it at the same time. Wow, yes. It's crazy when you're aware. And as you raise your hand, Christopher, I find myself with my phone, I'm like, you need to stop doing what you're doing, right? And I'm like, yeah, you need to continue. You need to put the phone down. Yeah, I'll do it now.
hmm
Okay. And you need to get back to what you're doing, right? Okay, good.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
that's what we're gonna talk about next week. If anything, that'll give you time. You have enough time not to procrastinate and think about how you can share to that topic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
Actually, I know the perfect person to reach out to see if we can get her on Cocktails with Cello. She's down
okay,
in your
good.
area, and she is a transformational life coach who specializes in procrastinators.
Huh. Okay. I look forward to that. So definitely reach out to her. At least you got a week to chat to see if she could join us. Now I want to give you the stage and share with folks about what you're about, what you do on LinkedIn, and why should folks connect with you. So go right ahead.
Sure. So my name is Christopher Rouse, and right now I am toting the shoepreneur #shoepreneur. So I've launched my own shoe. I am looking to find the first 3 pre-orders because once I get those first 3 pre-orders, and then the game changes completely. I can make more shoes. I can reach out to more people. I can find an influencer. Once I find an influencer to wear my shoes, it's over. It's a wrap. Then we have liftoff, and we're going outer space. So I can give back. So I can help everybody who's helped me along my journey, because there are certain people that I've met through LinkedIn and throughout life that really deserve that. They deserve that handout because they're the ones that are always standing by my side. Like Marcello, this man deals with me on a daily basis because I'm always asking him about something stupid. but it's
Yeah,
but it's
Marcel.
true, and it's deeply humbling, and it's there aren't words to really to dignify the gratitude and the respect that I hold for Marcello,
Thank you, sir.
and it's well deserved because you are one hell of a person. You really are, and it's people like that that really it's people like you, Marcello, that we need more of in the world, because how genuine you are, and because that instead of instead of just falling with the world, you do what you need to do in spite of the world falling to shit.
Mm-hmm.
Pardon my French, but
No,
that's the only way to put it.
no, I
You
speak
know.
French. I speak French too. So yes, I.
But that's, I mean, that's really, at the end of the day, that's what it boils down to. It boils down to the people that are at your side, and that are at your back throughout the tough, and throughout the hurt, and the struggle, and the pain, and the suffering, and the crying, and the being broke, and the ramen noodle soup dinners, and all of that. You will find a few people that'll stick there by your side, and those people are the ones that you should really focus to bring up with you. You know, even if they're at that level that you want to get to, you get to that level and you surpass that. So you say, hey, Marcello, what are you doing back there? What are you doing back there? Catch up. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and it creates a life cycle that touches the world.
See, that's things that those are the kind of things when you hear that it is inspiring, and I'm 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 touched and pleased to know that I've impacted you in such a way that you felt compelled to share that with us. So I thank you. And mind you, you think about our exchanges, and either via DM or even here right now on the live. It's the right thing to do. I mean, this is the thing. These are the kind of conversation that you should do with. This is how you treat people, either within your family. I hope, and this is how you treat people that you work with, your boss, your friends, your colleagues. I hope, but sadly, it's not common. It's not common. So when you hear a guy telling another guy how he felt about his exchange, and you're like, gosh, Marcello must be remarkable, so much so remarkable for another guy to say that. Well, but no, but you know what it is that this is mutual respect, and and sadly, it doesn't happen enough that when you hear it, you're like, wow, okay, no, I'm treating Christopher the way I would want to be treated, and he felt, he's comfortable enough to know, comfortable enough that if he wants to share that. And these are the things that we should do more often. And like I said earlier, like I'll come home and randomly. I'm not even in a doghouse, and I'll have two bouquets of roses just because my wife likes to um, arrange the flowers, and obviously she likes to see them. In the process of arranging it, she loves to do that. So, and the reason why I said, because she likes to, she does events. She coordinates events. That's one of her passions. So she does weddings and events and things of that sort. So arranging a bouquet of flowers is something she enjoys doing. Or I'll come home with a thank you note, whatever it might be. So the same thing what Christopher did. We should all be doing that with our connections and our family. And it doesn't take long. It doesn't think you could just pick up the your direct message, send an audio, or send a video, like literally right before you were about to go into a meeting and say something quickly. I mean, earlier today he reached out to me and he asked me, hey, a random question, how I'm doing, and I sent him a video, like where what I was doing, yada yada. But it was just a casual conversation, and I do that, and that's how I interact with everyone. So the fact is, even if you're not used to doing that, get used to doing it, because I'm going to interact with you that way. So as I start doing it, then you might become more comfortable to do it with other folks, and hopefully it becomes infectious. Then our network just will continue to have a bountiful of love and affection. Then we all gonna want to help each other. And imagine that kind of world. Wouldn't it? I mean, everyone will want to live in that kind of world. So at the end of the day, I mean, I'm glad that I made a connection with you, Christopher. I'm glad that that you allow yourself to be vulnerable, and I'm glad to consider you a friend. So I wish you all the best on your new venture. So thank you very much. And like I said earlier, let me know. Think about different areas that you want to focus on. Let's focus on three, and let's get like a rundown, like a format, like you want to talk about this, talk about that. So let's say first you can say why you wanted to get into creating the shoes, why and maybe the other two things. I mean, it could be you know why you chose to go with this manufacturer or whatever it might be, and then lastly, the with them. Why should someone choose to buy your shoes? So then ultimately, then those are the three areas that we can focus on, and essentially that's the kind of conversation that you can share with someone to reinforce why either to buy the shoes or back back you or partner with you, and it makes it easy. So just consider that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I appreciate that. So now let me go back to the comments, see if I have anything before we wrap up for the night. So give me 1 second. Let me refresh this. And let me know. I see. I got my dude Chris is in the house. Let me see. Thank you, friend. Great talk. I see you got Chris Whitmire. What's going on, Chris? How you doing
What's
today?
going on, Chris Whitmer?
Yeah, Chris is in the house. Chris is hanging in there. Chris Whitmire. Yeah, you know that dude. He hangs out late just like with us, you know. Let me see if I
Yep,
can bring it. All
he's
right.
good people. I like him a lot,
Mm-hmm.
especially what he does with Clutch and helping the elderly. That's
Mm-hmm.
nobody does that. Nobody thinks that they want to help the elderly, and he saw a mission and he got behind it.
Yep.
No
Yeah.
hesitation, got behind it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Chris. Yeah. Thank you very much for that. Yeah. Thank you very much for that. Let me see here. Uh, I got that here, and I got the link. So I'm if unless any of you guys want to join the chat, which I just put the link back in there, I'll be wrapping up in the next couple of minutes. And if you guys have anything that you want to promote, let me know and we can jump here. Or you can utilize this platform, like I said before. Cocktails or Cello has always been a networking platform. So if you guys have something that you want to promote, talk about, feel free to jump on. Otherwise, we'll be wrapping up now. Um, what do you got going on, Christopher? Because we could start wrapping up unless someone else jumps on the stream. What do you got going on the next week before I see you next week Thursday on the live? What you got planned?
Unless it's a bunch of networking meetings, probably not a whole heck of a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I'm in networking meetings like all. If I'm not in a networking meeting, I'm on another platform making money just to make money on the side. Um, or I'm talking to people, and it looks like I'm actually pretty open.
And
I like that.
when you're talking about platform, what other platform would you be on?
The platform is called Ibu. I think that's how it's pronounced. It's IBBU.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially, what it does is it allows a person who, say, knows about Samsung phones, or like I do, or TVs, or refrigerators, or whatever. And it's a community that you can sign into, like you apply to, you sign into it, and then you have conversation, you have influencing conversations with people about products and services, and you get paid for it.
Hmm.
If they buy, you get paid.
When you say that, I think about Amazon. I'm not sure if you knew this already, but did you know that Amazon has a live feature now?
Hmm.
Yeah, so Amazon Live, let me see if I can bring it up here if I have access to it. So Amazon Live has very similar to like what we're doing here. So let me bring up the link here. So and I'm gonna post a link to a good friend of mine. His name is Jim Fuhr. I'm gonna type in here. Shout out. He has shout out. Here you go. He has he got access to Amazon Live. So think about this, and that's the link right there. If you click on it, you can see Jim Fuhr's Amazon Live that he had some time ago. I think it was last week, but you can see the channel. So basically, they're gonna be talking about different products, and while he's talking about the actual product, you could actually see it comes up on the screen. So it's like QVC, but live. So
Oh, that's
imagine,
awesome.
yeah. So yeah, so if you got something that you're passionate, and you don't even have to have the gadget in your hand or trinket that you're talking about, you could just have it in your, uh, associated with the chat that you're going to talk about, and as you go live, it could come up. Obviously, if you have the gadget in hand, it helps because then you can talk about it. You can bring it around. You can zoom in. You might see when you look at this, see the pen. You see the writing on the bottom. You see the detail of it. You got a twist top. You see that's where the string, and you got the top here, and then you come over here, and then afterwards, after you just tie that nice and firm, and that's a nice keepsake pen that you'll have for decades to come. Won't you want to get a pen like this for yourself? So mind you, then obviously then the link is on the bottom. So it's good to have something if you can play with it of what you're gonna be talking to, but you don't have to. So it's just an consider. But it's called Amazon Live. Anyone could get access. You just have to have certain parameters in place. So for instance, um, I believe I tried to set it up under my YouTube channel, but I don't have that much access or that much viewers or subscribers. So when you linked that channel, it automatically scanned my channel and determined, yeah, you don't got enough clout or something like that. Let's just use that, right? And it didn't say, yeah, we're not gonna give you access. So it depends on how much subscribers or whatever you got going on. So as long as you got a pretty decent access, that's something you can consider. What I recommend you to do is that you could actually, there's a good friend of mine, and I put it right here in the chat, Professor Nez. Professor Nez, shout out. He, shout out. Shout.
Hashtag outshouts.
Yeah, I know. Let me just step in, yo. He actually had an episode, and Professor Nez, if you actually click on it on this live feed, post a link to that video that you had that you talked about how to gain access to Amazon Live. So he did a video talking about how you could gain access yourself. So definitely recommend anyone to do that. So yeah, but that's another platform. Yeah. So I guess at this point, I think everybody's good to go on Cocktails with Chello. So we can wrap up at this point. I want to say thank you very much for everyone joining me. I know that we had a pretty good discussion, better than I expected, and I'm quite happy. Did you outside of LinkedIn? Where else can someone connect with you, Christopher?
I have a Facebook. It's Christopher Rouse. It's lacto tighter than Fort Knox only because Facebook to me is more private. I keep pictures on there that I don't necessarily care if anybody else sees because I'm selfish about my children. But I mean, email. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Snapchat. There's many ways to find me. I'm omnipresent.
Okay, so yeah, do me a favor when you get a chance after we go off the live, just come back on the replay and just post links to the channels that you want to connect with folks. So obviously, don't put a link to your Facebook page. Put a link to like your Instagram and anywhere else, and even the other channel that you talked about that you was mentioning that you are on the other platform. If you have a page on that, won't you put a link to that as well so folks can connect with you there?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate everyone joining me today. I can't thank everyone. The comments, we had a great engagement, and look forward to next week's Cocktails with Chello, which is going to be episode 16. So thank you, guys. Take care, everyone.
It's awesome. Chello, check your DMs.
I will. Thank you.
Later.
Yeah.